All righty. Let's see how this goes. Probably technical difficulties. Who knows how this is going to go down? Let me know if you can see me, how things are going. Good, bad, volume bad. Holler at me. Let me know. Let me know if you can hear me. StreamYard has been an absolute mistress lately, so hopefully everything's working. Somebody send me a comment. Let me know we're good to go. No? Yes, me. Audio's good. It's freezing. Of course it is. Oh, Jeff, I don't know what to do, man. I don't know what to do. Let's try something here. Is it better? Worse? Just a few minutes, guys, working through some technical stuff. StreamYard is a nightmare past week, so just trying to get that figured out for us. I don't know really what's going on with it. Doesn't matter what we do, computer wise, internet wise, it does not want to work. It is pretty low. It's on 720, but I'll happily do that, sir, because you're the boss. You hear that, ladies and gentlemen? Jeff is the boss. We'll go standard. Is that better? Ooh, that does work a little better, doesn't it? Roll Tide, Nicholas. Welcome in, man. We're going to talk about this offensive line, Adrian Klemm, a little bit today. I'll go ahead and tell you guys, if it freezes up, I don't know what to tell you. We're moving over to a different streaming platform currently. I recorded some videos on there today. Everything went great. StreamYard is pretty close to losing our business. It's pretty bad stuff. Shouldn't have to be rocking 480p. But anyway, all right. So what I want to talk about with you guys is thanks, Nick. That sounds great. What I want to talk to you guys about is some comments made by former Tide legend AJ McCarron on his podcast, The Dynasty. Pretty good comments, pretty cool stuff that he was discussing about Adrian Klemm and why he's excited. And I know I have kind of been thanks, Jeff. I know I've kind of been one of the ones to tell you to pump the brakes on the excitement for this team, but I do got to say his comments got me pretty fired up. And so I want to discuss that a little bit, and we'll go into detail here. But before we do, if you're new here, sorry for the technical difficulties. Again, StreamYard's on the rag. So we're trying to get it squared away. But thank you for joining. If you have never been in a Waaaay Offsides live before, you're probably in for a treat. Our lives on Thursday night are much better than what I'm going to present today, but please like, subscribe, do all the things. You guys, YouTube is also being a pain in the butt. And so you guys know that we rely on you guys when YouTube is not wanting to do the job, to comment, like, share, even if it's a big Roll Tide in the comment section, or just a thumbs up on the video, share it with your family, friends, all that. But let's talk about what AJ McCarron said. He basically expressed some strong approval for Alabama's hiring of Adrian Klemm as the new offensive line coach. Now, I have a video that's about to drop shortly that covers this. I actually dropped like 4 minutes ago, but I really wanted to go into detail about it. He called it a great move to fix recent frontline issues. McCarron described Klemm as demanding and nasty, noting he brings a needed, more physical mentality to the team, which is different from previous coaching styles. Now, that is being reported by Touchdown Alabama magazine. And just some highlights, some key highlights I want to go through on McCarron's comments and kind of talk about why I think he's right. Is McCarron approving of this hire? He said, quote unquote, I'm fired up about Klemm, believing that he'll bring a much needed intensity to the offensive line. I think that is kind of the flavor right now. And that is what Alabama fans have been griping about and yelling about, is there's just been no intensity with this team. There's been comments about how soft they are, how they don't have that edge. They don't look like Saban teams of years past. And ultimately, that's what they're all saying, is that they lack the intensity and the physicality that we're used to seeing from Alabama, right? Lance, this is impromptu, man, but thank you for jumping in. We'll be on regular time on Thursday, so no stress, buddy. No stress. So my thoughts on this are, I am excited. I am very optimistic about Adrian Klemm as the offensive line coach. Remains to be seen if he's going to be the only one. It's starting to look that way. But I also still need to see this on the field. But there's promise in the fact that we saw after Alabama got completely out physicaled in the Rose Bowl, we saw Kalen DeBoer and the staff go straight to work. They got rid of Coach Cap, which absolutely needed to happen. They did it strategically. I think Coach Cap was a great dude, a players-friendly coach, probably a really good recruiter. However, he did not carry with him the edge that Alabama needs along the trenches. And then Ryan Grubb kind of echoes the sentiment that moving into 2026, Alabama's got to learn to be physical week in and week out, every play along their offensive line. He's absolutely right. He can finesse all he wants to, but you've still got to be extremely physical along the offensive line if you want to win a national championship. That's just how it is. And so Klemm brings that with him with physicality and style. McCarron stated that Klemm brings a level of nastiness that has been missing for a couple of years, describing him as not as polite mannered as the previous coach, kind of what we're talking about there with Klemm kind of being a more no BS guy. Let's get down to business. Let's go to work. Let's make this thing happen. I want this team. I want this offensive line to be a reflection of me. Maybe we could say maybe more of a Saban mentality when it comes to the offensive line compared to Coach Cap. And Lance, you're absolutely right. Like something had to change. 125th or whatever in rushing is sickening. It's horrible, man. It is historically bad. And what's even worse about it is Alabama still made a playoff and won a playoff game. What could they have accomplished if they could run the football? I'm not convinced that they don't have the running backs to do it. I think if you look back, I did a video talking about my top three backs going into the season: Daniel Hill, Kevin Riley, and A.K. Deere. All three of those guys popped at different points in times last season. And I think they could have got it done. I understand the running backs are part of the problem. They certainly are. Ryan Grubb was part of the problem. I think there were times where he got frustrated with trying to run the ball, got away from it. Personnel wise, I think there was some conflict there, and things but ultimately this is on the offensive line. Now, Klemm brings with him this idea of nastiness, and McCarron hits on the fact that everybody in the coaching world highly respects Adrian Klemm. And they respect him at a level that he's the kind of guy that he's going to go to work. There's not going to be a lot of horse playing. There's not going to be dilly-dallying, if you will. But it's a business mindset. And I think that's what Alabama needs. I think it is. And I think that the staff, obviously they recognize it or they wouldn't have hired the guy. So it'll be very, very interesting to see how this experiment works with bringing in Adrian Klemm. He's had a pretty strong history of being able to run the football, whether it was at Oregon, UCLA, obviously player as well, NFL talent, daggum good recruiter. So I don't think AJ McCarron's wrong in being excited about Klemm at all. Now, in terms of high regard, McCarron mentioned that many in the coaching world respect Klemm and that he has a great resume. We talked about that a little bit. But that there is also the need for Klemm to establish the starting five offensive linemen early to build essential rapport and chemistry. And this is kind of why I wanted to hop in and do a short live, because I didn't really mention this in the video that I did earlier, is there's a lot of bouncing around along the offensive line the last two seasons for Alabama. Some of it is due to injury. Some of it, I think, like I said, I think there are some personnel mishaps that have gone on in Tuscaloosa, and it just, it never worked, right? It never flowed. It never looked good. It was a problem. And so to see a guy come in here who's potentially going to go, these are my starting five. This is who we're going to roll with. These are the guys who are most prepared for the position, who's hopefully it's going to basically, outside of Michael Carroll, be an open competition. So you're going to see that cream rise to the top. And who else better to trust than AJ McCarron, right? It's interesting to hear these former Bama players start to be a little more vocal about what's happening inside the program. I didn't necessarily agree with some of the stuff Greg McElroy said the other morning on Cole, whatever the show is with Cole Kubelik, regarding, he felt like Alabama ran out of gas. Well, that may be the case, but that's not a viable excuse, right? Like every other team that was in the playoff had to worry about exhaustion and running out of gas too. And two of them ended up playing for a national championship, right? That comes back down to being physically minded. Like what's your level of physicality? And basically what's your level of dog? And Alabama hasn't had it, man. They have not had it. They haven't had the maulers on the offensive line. And you can blame it on 1,000 things, but really it comes down to the mentality. And Adrian Klemm is a guy who I think can come in and reassert that. Not only reassert it, but nurture it and grow it. And hopefully that becomes Alabama's identity again. When people see that wall of crimson lined up against them, they're intimidated. They're nervous to play against those guys. We've all heard the comments that Manti Te'o made about DJ Fluker right before the national championship game. Where did that Alabama go? Now, some of this started under Nick Saban. This isn't just on Kalen DeBoer. You've got to tip your hat for Kalen DeBoer for making the hard decision. Firing Coach Cap was not an easy decision, and they did it strategically. They did it with pretty good timing, I think. Waiting until the portal closed, going and getting your guys that you need to get, and then letting his butt go, right? And I don't know, man. I know a lot of people wanted a different name, but I'm really excited about Klemm. I really am. I think the guy is going to be solid, dude. I really do. I think he's going to be a great hire, and I think AJ's absolutely spot on discussing his thoughts on what Coach Klemm brings to this new offensive line. And but mind you, it's going to be new. Like, Alabama's offensive line has always been the backbone of championship football in Tuscaloosa, right? You had those mauling lines under Nick Saban and his dynasty. You had a ton of first-round NFL draft picks, and they anchored these trenches well over a decade, almost 2 decades. The standard was very clear. Dominate the line of scrimmage or don't step on the field. Make them quit. That culture's been under fire by Alabama fans, and for good reason, man. I'm never going to dog an Alabama fan for crapping on the effort we saw from the offensive line last year. There were some dudes on that line. The effort and the mentality and the physicality was the problem. Adrian Klemm, he kind of steps in. He's going to be one of the most scrutinized roles in college football as Alabama's offensive line coach because everybody saw the glaring issues with the run game last year. SEC defenses are getting faster. I don't know about deeper, but more aggressive. And the margin for error in the trenches is pretty small. And so a guy like Klemm coming in, man, could absolutely change pace for Alabama football moving forward. Absolutely could. And I'm excited, and I think AJ hit the nail on the head. You should be excited too. Let's see what some folks got to say. Grubb's replacement out of Seattle is now the Raiders coach after year 1. Ouch. Yeah. And they won a Super Bowl. I think so, Nick. I hope so. Fingers crossed. He did kind of a couple of weeks ago talked about how he hopes that team can get back to being physical. So I part of me understands that this staff, and I'm not making excuses for poor coaching. Okay. Let me be very clear, but this staff is also trying to understand what it means to be a national championship contending SEC team. You know what I mean? And you're absolutely right, Nick. Absolutely. All right. So why Alabama's offensive line culture is being questioned. We kind of talked about that. Alabama's historically won championships, controlled the line of scrimmage. In recent seasons that featured inconsistency, penalties, and lack of push and run game. That is one of the most frustrating parts of watching these offensive lines the last couple of years. Not to mention they can't protect quarterback. Fans and former players have openly questioned whether that edge or physicality are still there. If you didn't watch the Bama Standard interview with Nikhai Hill-Green and Reggie Ragland kind of called it out. I applaud Hill-Green for the way he handled that. But just because it was aggressive doesn't mean Reggie was wrong. It wasn't just the offensive line, but the offensive line was the most glaring issue. Klemm's background, though, both as a player and a coach, it is physical, and it is in physical run-oriented systems. Even Oregon. All right. And he does have that reputation. This is what AJ McCarron was talking about for demanding toughness, accountability, and daily competition. And I think that was lacking under Coach Cap. And that's not a knock at Coach Cap. Thank you for your service. We're moving on. But we need a guy who's more serious about being an offensive line coach. And so I think it signals, I called it a philosophical shift, not just a staff change in my video earlier. And I think that's what it signals for Alabama. I think it signals a change in philosophy. So to Nick's question, or what his statement about he hopes Ryan Grubb understands the importance of running the football, I think this points to that. All right. You guys remember the days where Alabama used to be able to get up on somebody, take the air out of the football, and just run it down your throat. There's no way in hell that team last year was doing that. Ryan Grubb tried it a couple times and let some teams right back into games that they should have been blowouts because Alabama couldn't run the football. I think Alabama wants to get back to that style. I think they do. If they didn't, they wouldn't be recruiting the running backs that they're recruiting. Go and look at their 2027 targets for the offensive line. Maxwell Hiller, I did a video on it earlier today. You can go check that out when you're done here. Please do, and share it everywhere. YouTube is kicking our butts right now. Most Alabama content creators are getting their butts kicked right now by YouTube. So like, comment, share, all the things. McCarron's perspective emphasizes kind of culture over a playbook, and I agree with it. I agree with it. It doesn't matter how good a playbook is. If the mindset's not there, it's not going to work. We saw that firsthand in 2025. And that focus includes things like finishing blocks, embracing contact, right? Playing angry, but staying disciplined. Okay. And it's understandable that former players, especially players who played for Nick Saban and in the league, they would spot those cultural shifts and be boisterous about them. I'm actually happy that these former players are being loud about it. Some people don't like it, but you bring in a guy like Klemm who could change that day-to-day culture. And this is what AJ's getting at without saying it. You're talking about practice intensity, right? Hopefully practice intensity with balance so that you're not getting everybody injured in practice, but more emphasis on physical reps, leverage, pad level, things like that. Holding starters and backups to the same standard. I talked about this in the early video. Some of these are the same notes. Creating an identity where the offensive line takes pride in being feared again. I miss that, man. I'm sure you do too. Running the football at Alabama is the standard. It is the standard. And we haven't been able to do it. Let's take a look at some comments. These dudes make me as a coach. No free passes. Agreed, Lance. You got to take the gloves off nowadays, right? What's up, Richard? How you doing, man? Let's see what you got to say. Anyone who would be better as a coach, our O-line has been bad for several seasons. Roll Tide. You're not wrong. And again, like I said, it started under Nick Saban. A lot of people don't talk about that, but I've said this several times. I remember Bryce Young absolutely running for his life. Running for his life. Debut, what's up, man? Roll Tide. Welcome in. Let's see. Hacker music. I want to play a little guitar, man. What kind of music you play? Let me know. Haven't had an O-line that played nasty from snap to whistle since 2020, and that was a player-led team. Agreed. 100%. 100%. Absolutely. It's been kind of downhill since then. I agree with you. I agree. What's up, man? All the way from Colorado. Is it cold over there? Probably. Oh, man, my boy Davis. I was going to wait and talk about that Thursday night. But yeah, man, 7th year of eligible. We wanted some mature players. We got one. So he's talking about Bingley Jones out of Mississippi State. If you guys haven't watched, I just did a short on it. NCAA granted him a 7th year of eligibility. So fantastic. But it's pretty great. Summer weather, really. That's interesting, man. It warmed up finally down here. Thank goodness, man. It was freezing for a while. So I do want to take a second, and we'll get back into the talk, but I do want to take a second. I said this in one of the videos earlier, and I posted it on X, but for those of you who have been around the channel for a long, long time, or not necessarily a long time, but a year ago today, most of you know my mom she passed away from cancer a year ago today. It's been a year. Crazy how fast it goes. I tell everybody all the time, it feels like the older you get, the faster time goes. But I just think you guys deserve a heartfelt thank you. We had an explosive year of growth in that time. And be like just hanging out with you guys on Thursday night and talking football, talking sports, or whatever ridiculous we're doing on the live. It was very therapeutic and helpful this year. And you guys played a big role in helping kind of get me through all of that. And so I just want to just make sure you understand that you're very much appreciated. I know Jeff went through something similar with his dad, and we both have talked about how just great it is to have you guys, especially like I'm looking at some of the guys in here, Nick, Five Adam, that have just been around for a very, very long time. And just want you all to know you definitely helped get me through a really tough year. And so I'm looking forward to what the next year brings along with it. And a lot of that will depend on you guys. Like I said, it's kind of the off season, so YouTube doesn't really push Bama content a lot. So if you guys can push it for us, that would be helpful. All right. Can you update in-state recruiting? Yeah, well, I just did a recruiting video earlier. A lot of, man, they're targeting a lot of dudes out of Georgia and some in Florida, which is pretty exciting. But I'll talk more towards in-state recruiting on Thursday night on our live. Jeff won't be with me, so I kind of have full reign. So we can talk about recruiting as long as we want to, because the adults won't be there to pester us. So yeah, we'll talk about it there, 8 p.m. Central Time on Thursday night, Adam. Okay. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Appreciate you. Tell your buddies. Absolutely. Please do. Oh yeah. We lost a family member to that a few years ago. That was tough, man. I'm sorry to hear it. So, all right. So we're talking about AJ McCarron. We're talking about AJ McCarron and his recent comments on his Dynasty podcast about Coach Klemm. I know that there are a lot of Alabama fans that didn't like the idea of Coach Klemm. They wanted a bigger name. They wanted a sexier name. But I really think just listening to AJ McCarron, we should be pretty excited about what Klemm brings to the table, because it's more than just a staff change. It's more than just a coaching change. It's a significantly cultural difference between Klemm and Coach Cap. And it is a further promise that Alabama is trying to dedicate itself to being able to run the football. And again, man, they won a playoff game. They made the SEC championship. Imagine what they could have done if they could have run the ball last year. So that should get you excited. It should absolutely get you excited. There's not going to be any short of talent on this team. I don't want to hype it up too much. I want to keep, expectations realistic, because I got to see it first. I'm sure a lot of you feel that way. But it shows that the coaching staff has a clear commitment to running the football, especially considering the quarterbacks. You're going to have Austin Mack, Keelan Russell likely duking it out. Either one that wins would be a first-year starter, and having a reliable run game would help that quarterback and control tempo. Alabama couldn't control tempo to save their lives last year. They couldn't extend drives, and a couple of games where they did, they won and looked good. Looked like one of the best teams in the country. And again, man, I just want to see Alabama get back to imposing its will. That I miss that, and I know you guys do too. And I think a Kalen DeBoer coach team can do that. I think that they have the bodies. It's going to be young kids, man. It's going to be a young offensive line this year. But Klemm, because of who he is and that day-to-day culture that he brings with him, right? The emphasis on intensity and physicality and setting a standard, he can absolutely get the best out of this offensive line in 2026. And I'm excited. We're talking an increase in yards after contact, fewer mental mistakes, closing out the games by running the ball, ground and pound, Bama ball, joyless murder ball, as a lot of you like to call it. So what I want to know for you is, and I asked this question in my last video, even though it's a lot of the same stuff, go watch it, please. Helps the algorithm. Leave a comment every time. But is Adrian Klemm the culture reset Alabama's offensive line needs? And do you think it's too much for AJ McCarron to kind of be hype about him? Do you think that it's kind of setting the fan base up for failure? Or do you think that That change, even though it's not the big sexy name that everybody wants, do you think that change is enough for Alabama to kind of pick back up the slack in their run game? I'd love to know. Love to know your thoughts. All right, let's go look at these comments. Yeah, Jeff does have a crazy week. We'll miss you Thursday, Jeff. But I'll be here, man. Hopefully it pops off, man. It's been slow sledding the past few days. YouTube is killing me, man. StreamYard's killing me. YouTube's killing me. I think Klemm, I'm assuming, is going to be a significant upgrade from Cap. Yeah, to Lance's point earlier, there aren't many out there who wouldn't be, I don't think. I haven't dove into this too much just yet. I will tell you, I do think Michael Carroll's going to probably end up playing guard. I think if Alabama can get some really good play out of the interior of their offensive line and run the ball up the middle, I think this will be a pretty solid offense in 2026. I think Ty Haywood's probably, it's hard to tell because there's going to be open competition. Racing Delgado, of course, at center. It'll be interesting to see what they do with Haywood if he continues to play tackle. Trying to think of everybody they brought in. My goodness. Jackson Lloyd will be very interesting to watch what happens with him. But I'll tell you what, I'll take a look at that, Adam, and I'll get a video posted up tomorrow for you. Let me take a deeper look at it and actually put some thought into it. I don't want to just throw something out there. I'll put some thought into it and do a video tomorrow on that. So be sure your notifications are on. Nick, you're a real one, man. You're always this is all I do is watch Alabama podcasts year round. I might not always be here live, but I watch all your videos and comment. I know. I see. I watch. I try to comment, after a couple of days I don't comment anymore because it's just that's too much to keep track of. But I see you, Nick. I see you out there. Bama Boy Davis. We all want the sexy hire, but be patient. It just might be worth our while. O-line has got to get better, right? Sure, absolutely. I agree with you, and I think patience is going to go a long way in this hire. Patience is going to go a long way with this team. I don't expect it to look pretty the first couple of weeks, but hopefully by the time you get into Georgia, things like that, it'll look a lot better. Miller's Edge. There's no question about that. Just because who he is, where he played, obviously, being now the head coach for the Birmingham Stallions, which is still kind of cool to wrap your head around, but yeah, he certainly does. And, he did bring up specifically that in the coaching world, that Klemm is very highly respected. And I don't feel like that's something he would just say to say it. You know what I mean? So I do think it's a connected thought. It's not something he's just saying to say on a podcast. I think it's something that he actually feels, and whether that be from talking to people, things like that. So, and Flossy Sports, this is a great point. O-line takes on the temperament of the coach. He's improved nearly every college program he's touched. We talked about that earlier. And again, it's not a knock against Coach Cap, right? I think Coach Cap is a great dude. I think a lot of people like him. I think he's kind of but he doesn't bring that physicality that you want. He doesn't bring that attitude that I think you need along the offensive line. He's not raising no killers. You know what I mean? So I think they could. I think they could. Like I said, I'm going to go take a longer look at it and kind of put my thoughts together. I don't want to just throw stuff out there. But yeah, I'll take a peek at it. Possibly. I do. I think he could. Those transfers aren't coming to sit, though. You know what I mean? So we'll see. Like I said, I'll spend some time this evening kind of looking into it a little deeper. I'll go through the depth chart for the offensive line and kind of put my thoughts together for you. And I'll get a video put out tomorrow, probably around 4 or 5 o'clock your time. so that you guys can see it. I haven't. I do know that there are already recruits being scheduled for A-Day. I do know that Xavier Sab is going to be there. I didn't even do a short on that, but yeah, Xavier Sab will be there for A-Day. I'm hoping that they kind of go back to the original format. It would just make sense. You don't have that second portal window. So we'll see. But I haven't heard exact date or time yet. Yes, so far they are. You're talking about Maxwell Hiller, correct? They're also, again, Joe Juan, I did a video earlier about some of the official visits coming up. I mean, they're already scheduling these official visits, everywhere. You go take a peek at that. There's several offensive linemen that they're in the running for. It's going to be a big part of their recruiting class in 2027. Lance, I love your brutal honesty. It's unfiltered, and I absolutely love it, man. I do too, man. But you know, I think that they understand that fans absolutely hated it. You could tell by the attendance. The attendance was down. So I do expect them, if they can, to go back to the original format. You tell me, man. I don't think one's been announced yet. Chat, you might want to answer Adam's question. Yeah, I don't think anybody's been announced yet. Oh, Willie Cam. Willie Cam in the house. How you doing, man? Welcome in. Hope you're having a fantastic week, Willie. It's one of our Waaaay Offsides members, him, Nick. So let's see. I'm going to see if there's been any updates. Oh, man, my stomach hurts. Nope. Not that I see. Chat, am I missing it? Am I wrong here? I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think they filled that role just yet. I don't think they're done with this coaching staff yet. I don't. I think there's still the potential that they might add another O-line coach. We'll see. It's starting to look more and more like they're just going to roll with Ellis, but we'll see. We'll see. That's fair. That's fair. I picked up on that too, Nick. I'll watch some a little bit too. Development depth is going to be the name of the game for him. So I think you're right, Willie. That's kind of what I've heard, but I've seen nothing concrete. So definitely. You talking about Nick Brooks? Y'all are so mean to these kids, man. Jake, welcome in. Yeah, I think most of us do. Most of us is absolutely do. All right. Yeah, everybody's. Derek Meadows is going to have a big year. I think he'll be utilized a little more efficiently this year. I hope, at least. We shall see. But ultimately, yeah, I just wanted to touch base with you guys about the offensive line and just kind of my thoughts. I did a video earlier, and there were a couple things I left out. So I really just wanted to kind of touch base with you guys and really see how you're feeling about Adrian Klemm. I've seen a lot of kind of, good and bad regarding him. So, yeah, man, I'm going to leave it there. We have our full live coming up Thursday night. We'll be talking a lot of recruiting. Again, Jeff is leaving me alone with you guys, so we can talk about recruiting all night long for all we care. We don't have Jeff to shut it down because, he's like the recruiting Grinch for some reason. Yeah. So thanks for hanging out with me again. You guys, please, by all means, share. If you see a video, Waaaay Offsides video, leave a big thumbs up on it. Leave a comment. I don't even care if it's a heart emoji. Help us out with the engagement. Keep this channel rolling for others, and we'll get them in here. Got a ton of recruiting interviews coming up. I'm working on Elijah Haven, KJ Green. Reached out to both of their camps, so hopefully we can get those on deck. Did one with Trent Seaborn about a week ago. It's on the channel. You can watch that. Last year we did. Xavier Griffin. We did Jabarius Garor, the Viger, Edge, 4-star Edge, Chicken is what they call him. Go check that one out on the channel. It's pretty great. You can hear his mom like punishing his little sister in the background. Is fantastic stuff. Just great content. So, but yeah, I'm gonna go enjoy some time with the family, guys, this evening. And like I said, it's the anniversary of my mom passing, so we're gonna spend some time together. I just really wanted to touch base with you. I know I was out last week, so we didn't do a live, and it's been a couple of weeks. I miss you guys, but you are fantastic, man. Again, just thank you for this year, for helping get me through. Really, I know I'm saying a lot, but just feeling kind of emotional today, I guess. But you guys are fantastic, man. Seriously, I hope, even if you're not the praying kind, I hope that you're blessed and know that we're praying for you. So as always, man, say your prayers, read your Bibles, wash your hands, horns down, beat Auburn and LSU and Tennessee too. Roll Tide, y'all.